We made this little video in case you missed the sneak peek, the web conference that we had, or you're not going to make it to the IHOA conference, or you just want to see me again explaining why we built the BinLogic 2.0. But here we have it. We're introducing the BinLogic 2.0 at the 2024 IHOA conference. And the BinLogic 2.0 was an evolution from the BinLogic 1.0. There was something we introduced in 2022. We installed it on several machines, and it enabled us to monitor the ice maker and the operations of the ice maker far more closely than we'd ever done before. We were trying to solve specific problems with the BinLogic 1.0, and while it did solve some problems, what we discovered that a lot of the issues were in the control panel up in the ice maker, not in the PLC control panel. So, hence, the BinLogic 2.0. The BinLogic 2.0 is a completely new control panel that replaces the mechanical timer up in the ice maker control panel. It also removes the mechanical bin control and the PHC relay. All these unreliable devices have been known to cause failures, and it was about time we got rid of them because they're basically technologies from the 1950s. We're replacing it with a computer, essentially. The BinLogic 2.0 is a microprocessor-based logic controller, and as the name suggests, it has logic, it has intelligence. So it's going to not only watch all the inputs that could affect your ice maker, such as your low pressure, high pressure, oil pressure, which you're familiar with, but in addition, it's also monitoring and timing your positive harvest control switch, and the flow and the RPM, and it is monitoring your crankcase heater and your contactors health. Crankcase heater is extremely important. If that crankcase heater fails, typically no one would ever know about it until your compressor fails. And a $10,000 part versus a $100 part, if we can monitor the crankcase heater and we can tell you when it's at a fault, the BinLogic will actually prevent the ice maker or the compressor from coming on. So that's one of the really cool things. In addition to that, it's monitoring your water flow. So right now it's in the make cycle. I can tell it's in the make cycle by looking at the status LED. The status LED is going to flash, and it's a flash code essentially. So a single flash means it's in the make cycle. 2 flashes, that means it's in the harvest cycle. The 3, 4, 5, 6, right all the way up to 13 are different error codes. So it'll tell you specifically what is wrong. Along with that status LED, you also have all your inputs. So you can tell which input is on or off, as well as the outputs, where you can tell which output is on or off. Great tool for diagnostics. But it's self-diagnosing, so it knows when there's a problem. So right now we're in the make cycle. We have an ice maker simulator here, which actually pretends to be an ice maker for the BinLogic, and it behaves exactly like an ice maker would. So the BinLogic thinks it's running an ice maker. So we're going to cause a problem on this ice maker here. What we're going to do is we're going to turn off the water flow while it's in the make cycle. So as soon as I turn off the water flow, it detects that there is no more water flowing, so it shuts down the make cycle and immediately goes into the harvest cycle. Why? You don't need the pump to harvest the ice. You may have ice on the tubes. So before we shut down, let's go ahead and extract that ice, get rid of it, so the tubes are clear. You don't seize up your crusher, and the next time the ice maker starts up, you're going to start on a clean cycle. So right now it's finishing the harvest cycle. It's got the 2 flashes. Once the harvest cycle is over, it's going to shut down, and just about 30 seconds in, it should shut down here, and that's what it did. So now it's stopped. My switch is still in the run position, but nothing's running, and it's giving me multiple flashes. The flash it's giving me right now is for the pump fault, which is essentially 7 flashes. So 7 flashes is that it did not detect water flow. So you can come in here, there's an external LED that also flashes. It's a waterproof LED. You could even mount it outside. So you don't even have to open the panel to see what the problem is. Now, this will be integrated with the monitoring system, so you will have access to those error codes remotely also. Now you can't reset this remotely because it's the pump. You got to fix it. Now it's not seeing water. So if you get to the machine, you see that whatever the problem, you replace the pump. So let's go ahead and replace the pump. So water flow is fixed. I want to test the pump, so I always put the switch in the down position, which will run the pump. And there we go, we're running the pump. Everything looks good. I'm going to go ahead and start the ice maker. And it's going to wait for about 5 seconds. And then it's going to start always in the harvest cycle. Why the harvest cycle? Well, because the harvest cycle is like a soft start. It's like starting in first gear, you know, instead of slamming the car into 4th gear and hitting the accelerator, which is starting the compressor under load, we are starting the compressor under low load, so it gets time to ramp up. It's less stress on the compressor. And also, if your crusher isn't spinning, it's checking for that, then there's no point making ice. So it's a good beginning. It's a good place to start. Once the harvest cycle is over, it's going to go into the make cycle. And now you've got your contactors running, your fan is running, your pump is running. A fault that you are familiar with is probably low pressure, high pressure. So let's go ahead and simulate one of those. I tripped the high pressure switch, okay? As soon as the high pressure switch is tripped, it shuts the compressor down, but it continues to run the pump and the heat and the pump and the crusher. Why? Because you probably have ice on your tubes and you want to clear that ice. So the best way to do that is run the pump, run the crusher, and as that ice starts to slide off, the crusher is going to knock it off. And this cycle is going to run for 90 minutes. It's called the flush cycle, and essentially it is intended to clear the ice by the time you get to the ice house so that you can fix the problem and start afresh without sitting there with a hose trying to melt all the tubes, melt all the ice on the tubes. So I have got to the machine, I fixed the problem, and I reset the high pressure. You still do have to reset the high pressure manually at the machine. Low pressure, high pressure, oil pressure trips are critical faults. You need to investigate why they occurred, resolve the issue, and then restart the machine. That's why we don't want to reset them remotely. So I fix it, and it's still in the flush cycle, so I can stop the flush cycle. In the middle position, everything shuts down, and I say, okay, fine, I'm ready to go, and I fire up the ice maker again. Again, it's going to start always, as always, in the harvest cycle. So it starts in harvest, runs through the harvest, and continues. Now, here's another safety feature that's been included. If you manually shut down the ice maker, you shut down the compressor is off. As soon as that compressor turns off, it starts a safety delay cycle. It's been shortened for the purposes of this demo, but it's a 3-minute cycle. It will not allow the compressor to come back on for another 3 minutes. We've set this now for a minute. So as soon as it finishes that safety delay, it will turn the ice maker back on and continue running. And it's indicating that it's in the safety delay state by the red stop light. It's continuously on. So the status light serves many different purposes. It's telling you what's going on. I am guessing we are pretty close to the minute. But that's, the BinLogic's got a lot of other functions, features. It's testing inputs. It's got sensors. This is way beyond and above the old mechanical timers. And your ice maker is going to last longer. It's going to run more reliably, and you're going to be able to diagnose faults more easily. I hope you found this video useful, and if you have any questions, please give us a call, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.